We all will start in under 10 minutes. Thank you.
Good morning, Dr. Soumya.
Morning.
Good morning. Waiting for Dr. Tricha to reach. Maybe in 5 minutes she will come in, and Dr.
I
Krishnan
see.
is here already.
Okay. Hello, good morning. And Tricha is coming, is it, to the venue?
Pardon? Yeah.
She's coming.
Yeah, she
She's
will
coming
come.
to the foundation.
Yeah.
Okay.
Dr. Krishnan is here already.
Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning. Thank you so much for organizing this. It's really going to be very useful.
Yes.
Everyone.
And I was telling, I had a look at what Tricha and Raghu had put together, and I was jokingly telling them I wish I could stay back and actually learn from this presentation. It's got lots of good stuff.
Yeah, I think there's so much to learn about AI and so many new things. So particularly for people who are not in the field, not keeping up. I hope all our young people are attending it, Dr. Hari, all our fellows, PhD scholars.
Everybody is here. Every scholar is here. We have even listed them, and in case if somebody is not coming in, then we called them yesterday. Both from field as well as from Chennai as well. As you see, the hall is full. And
all is full, and I can see a lot of people online also. So all our regional centers are connected.
Everybody is connected. Just waiting for Tricha to come. So
yeah. So, Krishnan, we have now that one project which has taken off, the one on the mapping of blue carbon.
Yes.
But we had other ideas, which those two other concept notes, which were actually prepared, but not yet funded. And then, of course, I think there's a lot of potential and possibilities in everything we do to use AI.
Correct.
It may be for research, but also I think increasingly have to look at the benefit to farmers and fisher, right? Those kind of interactive AI-based modules which can actually provide information at the right time to the farmer or to the fisher person.
Correct.
So I think that's a very nice area for us to be working. Building things we've already done, like the fisher-friendly mobile app, or like the agromet advisories that we do. How do we bring AI to that to have a more accurate forecasting?
Great.
And not just forecasting, but follow on from that. Okay, if this is what is going to happen to the weather, then what should the farmer do? He may or may not know exactly what should be done.
Right. I think along with the solutions, the capability of the people with respect to the language of AI,
Yes.
that also needs, because even if somebody is telling something, they will throw phrases. They will say, we will do rad, we will do rag, and we will do. Now, like if you don't know this language, you will feel overwhelmed.
Correct.
Once you understand this, you'll know in what context the other technologist is speaking, and they also question and challenge. I think that's the one of the objectives for today's session, for instance.
To be able to understand some of these concepts, so
Yes.
that you can take the conversation to the next level, right? Because otherwise, well, that's a very good objective, I think, for today.
So I think we should get started.
Yeah, we will get started. Dr. Krishnan has a lecture. He can give that.
Yes, I
Then
think that's better.
Dr. Tricha is there. We can again welcome them. Yeah.
Right. Yes. Okay. So I think that's great. I'll stay connected
She's setting the phone.
through my phone. So looking forward to your lecture. Again, thank you very much, Krishnan, as well as Tricha, for having organized. I think this is the first step we will take. And of course, we will continue to want to engage with you both to do little more mentoring and handholding. But like you said, first we have to at least understand the language that AI experts are using. So look forward to the workshop. Thanks. Dr. Hariharan, you can take it from here.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Oh, yeah, one more information I wanted to tell. I reached out to both Oliver and Dr. Ranga also. After this particular workshop, we will also have a separate meeting with Dr. Tricha to explain what we have, what kind of data we have, and then seek their advice for the next steps. Yeah, that is in the afternoon. Yeah, Dr. Krishnan.
Yeah, very good.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Good morning. I hope the people on the video conference can also hear me. So how do we get this screen? They see it, or how is it? Okay. So what I thought we will do. It's actually great timing. Maybe I will also use this opportunity to introduce Tricha and Raghu. If you can just come up here, So good morning, everybody. My name is Krishnan Narayanan. I'm the co-founder and president of a research company called Itihasa Research and Digital. And today we are fortunate that we are joined by Raghu Venkat and Tricha Anjali. Raghu and I studied together at IIT Madras here. So in a way we are your neighbors, very close by. And Raghu, of course, has since gone on to found a number of startups, very successfully exited some of them, and he's now in his maybe third or fourth, I don't know, fifth startup that he is doing now. So the latest one is in the Gen AI and so on. Tricha, she comes from IIT Bombay. She's part of her career was in teaching, actually. I think with Georgia Tech, and then at IIIT Bangalore, where she headed the AI programs there. And she's then shifted over to the entrepreneurial side and started companies, and the two of them have started the latest one, numbers.ai, right? So they would be giving you the training on AI today. Okay, what I wanted to do before we get started, I'm going to be talking about something called co-intelligence life X-verse. Now, there's a lot of words, but this is all based on some research work that I've been doing with Professor Venkat Ramaswamy of the Ross School of Business, University of Michigan. Okay, so before we get started, I wanted to get a sense from you. So, can you give me an organ create value? So when you think about this, tell me what kind of value they create, who are they creating it for, who is creating it, how are they creating it? Very, very, very quickly, and not too long, but just one or two examples. Anybody? Any organization?
Through publications,
Sorry?
through a lot of publication in the scientific journals as well as other journals.
Yes, so scientific publication, yes. And how are they, what is the value they are creating?
Yeah, if it is a scientific organization, then it will express their area of research and core value of their research organization.
Right. Okay. Okay, so that is one. That's a good one. What else? Anybody else? What about tea kadai, road kadai, tea kadai stall? Is that creating value? Yes or no? Yes. So how is it creating value? By giving tea, quality of tea. That is, yes, quality of tea is one possibility. Also, value gets created when the tea just a high quality which it there is no value getting created. Value gets created when the tea is sold to a customer, then value is created, right? Especially if the customer is a very tired customer, then he drinks tea, then there seems to be greater value. So value, you see, is not just in the product. It is also dependent on the customer's situation now. Demand, but also the state of the customer. Romba tired irken, the tea is even more valuable to me. Yes, so the same tea, the product is the same, but the value got created was much more, right? So how do we now? So anyway, this is just one. So essentially, what we are saying is across these generations from agricultural revolution, which started 10,000 years back, right? More than 10,000 years back is when formal agriculture revolution started. To then the industrial revolution, the steam power and electric power and then computer power. All this has reshaped the world as we know today. But it seems like we are now entering one new stage or era in this world. Now, that's what we believe. This is very different from even 5 years back. See, artificial has been around for 50 years or more than 50 years. Even 5 years back, the kind of power we have is not available. What is that power? We are calling as this co-intelligence, power of the co-intelligence. Means the human and the AI are able to interact with one another. Okay. Even before AI was there, but we were not actively engaging with that AI. That AI was just observing what we were doing, and then it would give recommendations to us. But in this new form, we are able to engage. So we seem to be entering a new phase. Anyway, this is we'll skip this. So let us see one example, and I wanted to start with this organization called Jugalbandi. How many of you have heard of Jugalbandi? Yes, of course. Yes, some one or two things that I see here. Okay, so let's just watch this video and then we will comment on it. Oh, the
उसमें रबी की और खरीफ की दोनों फसलें उगाते हैं, जिसमें गेहूं है, ज्वार है, बाजरा है, तिल्ली है, सरसों है। बट यहाँ मेवात में कंदर बहुत से गाँव में न्यूज़पेपर नहीं पहुंच पाते हैं।
actually a combination of two language models. So they took PT and then they took something called Bhashini. Right now, Bhashini has been developed actually by the folks at IIT Madras. There's a center called the AI for Bharat. So AI for Bharat, then with Government of India, they have developed this Bhashini, which is the ability to understand local languages. Okay, so the person is speaking in Hindi. To that, it is available as a WhatsApp chatbot. The person is speaking in Hindi, the farmer. So what was done is they combined these two language models and they trained it. Okay, they trained it on the government schemes that are applicable. So this farmer here, he doesn't know today, the farmer doesn't know which government scheme is applicable for me. Is this applicable for me, my situation, right? There are thousands of such schemes which keep happening, state government schemes, central government schemes. So this person, all he has to do, they don't need to go to any website and search for themselves, right? All they do is just ask this WhatsApp thing in the voice. There's no need to type also. They could type, but it could just be voice. And they'll say, எனக்கு வந்து ஏதோ இந்த ஸ்கீம் ஏதோ தெரிய வந்தது ஏதோ 3000 ரூபாய் தராங்க எனக்கு அது இது இருக்கா is it applicable for me, right? And so this chatbot then at the back end figures out and then gives an answer, right? That answer can also be now in a language which the farmer understands. So now what I want you to think about, this is truly marvelous, right? Now this chatbot was built within 3 months of ChatGPT being launched in the US. In November 2022, ChatGPT was launched in the US. In January, this chatbot was built in India. So many thousands of miles that thing has traveled. Somebody in India has figured out a very intelligent way to combine Bhashini with ChatGPT. Then they trained it on, the government schemes, and suddenly the Indian farmer it's making a difference to the Indian farmer, right? So that is truly the power of technology. In fact, Dr. Hariharan and I was just discussing that what is called the technology readiness level. TRL could be high, but if the VRL, the village readiness level is low, it does not make sense, right? Whereas in this case, it seems like the TRL and the VRL are both becoming high. And that is how it's creating a difference in the local farmer, right? And so this is an example of this co-intelligence, how we have leveraged co-intelligence, but to make a difference to the farmer's life. And that is the life experts part. Similarly, there are many companies. There's a company out of Bengaluru called Cropin. Has anybody heard of Cropin? Yeah, maybe I see one or two nods. Now, this company Cropin, for example, take this second one, Akshara. Okay, Akshara was recently a language model that they released, where here was the interesting thing. They trained it on 5,000 domain-specific pieces of data, but these are all data based on crop grown in India, in Indian conditions, right? So the data set is from the Indian subcontinent. It is not some global data. It's not like, because OpenAI is trained on world's knowledge, but it is not trained on specific domain knowledges. So in this case, they have trained it specifically on data from the Indian subcontinent. And so the kind of questions and answers that it gives, the answers it gives are much better, based on this crop and Akshara model, right? So those are the kinds. I will leave this. So what I want to share with you is you have the opportunity as MSSRF to create such aksharas and jugalbandis of the world in your context. So for example, I know you already have a fisherman app. Now, the app, the mobile app, and the way it was built is belonging to the the previous generation of technology. Now, how can you infuse this capability into that app so that it becomes even more powerful, right? But that's just one. There are so many other places, right? Like where you could, you are creating knowledge assets in a particular area. Let's say there is one crop that you are dealing with, and you have lots of knowledge assets around that crop that you have built over the years. There is what is called collective intelligence, right? So there is wisdom from the field. The farmers know some kinds of intelligence because their forefathers have told them. There is some merit in that intelligence, right? That is not like just because forefathers have said that is all wrong. There is some merit. Now, if you can combine that wisdom with scientific wisdom, it can be even more powerful. But how do you collect this knowledge from the field? So there are ways in which you could now. There's a company called Apurva.ai, which is working in this space. So I'm saying there are many areas where technology can help, but it's for you in MSSRF to define those areas, right? So you could be creating the next Akshara and Jugalbandi. That's the point I want to leave with. And I want to just conclude this thing with a. So how do you visualize this co-intelligence, this life experts, this world? Like how do you make sense, right? So we have provided one simple lens for you to look at it. So you can look at your context and apply this lens. We call it the PyX lens. Okay, the PyX lens. What does the PyX lens stand for? The P stands for platforms. Okay, so that what are the shared digitalized infrastructure, the platforms that are available to make a difference in this context. So in this case, you already, like for example, you already have a what do you call that? Field FFMA, Fisher. Fisher friendly mobile application, FFMA, right? So that's an example of a platform you already have. Then maybe you bring some of the other technology elements, right? OpenAI and other things. So let's say you have all those elements. So you put that is the platform. That is what is creating, so P. What is I? I is impacts. So when we say impacts, what I want you to think about impacts is not just, I mean, of course, I think as MSSRF, you're already trained to think from a perspective of the village and so on, right? Whereas if you go to a corporate, they are very removed. They won't be thinking about farmers' life and all. They'll be thinking how much profit can I make, how much more revenue I will make. So sorry about this. But in your case, the impacts is what I call as sustainable well-being impacts. So you should be now thinking in terms of the kind of experiences of the we use this phrase called experiencer, but the different kinds of experiences. So it could be the farmer, it could be the the experience of a MSSRF person helping in the field. So how do you now design the application to maximize the impacts to that person on the field, right? So you essentially identify every experiencer in this system, and you try to maximize the impacts for them. So it is not just farmer. It's the maybe there is a collaborator. Okay, so there is somebody from the government. So how will you now keep the government official at the center of this and maximize benefits? That's a process that you need to follow. So that's the impacts. That's the I, which is the impacts. And then the E is what we call as the middle part. Okay, so you just think of this as engagements. What I feel is the way you should think about applying it in your context is to look at every moment of engagement which is possible. List those moments of engagement. So if you were to redesign your FFME application, you would say, where does this thing start with? What is the first moment of engagement? The fishermen, let's say after they have, or they're going into into fishing. Let's say it starts there. So that's the first moment. At this moment, what impacts can I give? Then you move. Then you take the next moment where they will possibly engage with MSSRF. Then you identify that moment and say, at this moment, who are the people, who are the experiences who will come into this moment? What is the ecosystem partner that I can draw in at this moment? So can I bring a government official at this moment to deliver some value? So in that case, in the Jugalbandi's case that we saw, when he is asking for schemes, you bring the government as an ecosystem partner at that moment, right? Whereas for something else, if the farmer had asked some general question about what do I do for farming, maybe that government official is not required. So the ability to bring at every moment of engagement. So all I will simply leave you with is, think of this as 5X, which is platforms, impacts, and engagements. And for every engagement in whatever function or a process that you are responsible for, you document that and see how you could maximize the experiences that you can offer. X is that experiences. Yeah. So with that, let me stop here. And I wish you all the best. I think there's like I said, the objective of today's session is really to give you that basic knowledge of the terms being used, right? And when you encounter AI, generative AI, you will hear lots of phrases being thrown about. Let's not worry about all those jargon being thrown, right? If you understand what is essentially the concept that is being supported by these phrases, you will be in a much better position to embrace this technology. Otherwise, there's a sense of fear. Generative AI. No, generative AI actually is, I feel, even better because you can speak to it in natural language. Whereas AI, you needed to know some special language of the machine. Generative AI, the machine has learned our language. So in fact, it's much easier to engage with generative AI. So I wish you all the best. Thank you. So Dr. Hariharan? Yeah.
Dr. Soumya? Yeah, if if there are any specific questions to Dr. Krishnan, you can raise it now. In fact, the last statement of yours is much revealing, and it makes us more comfortable. So we look forward for generative AI solutions, both online and offline. Yeah. No, they will be more interactive. Still, the ice need to be broken. Yes. Okay. They will have holes of nice harmonies. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Thank you. We developed a small schedule for this, but all of us are very much eager to hear you both. In fact, Dr. Krishnan was mentioning that he viewed your slides and he wished to stay with us all through, so that, So with that, shall I hand over the stage to you so that we can get the benefit? Dr. Soumya?
Yes, please go ahead.
Trisha
Please
and
go ahead.
yeah. Okay, then I will hand over the. You can. No, up to 1 o'clock. Yes, and we also have a tea break in between. Yes. I'll just see.
You are you, Prakashan. You are influences. It's for 66 MB. Okay, we play from the play. And I don't need to project anything from here. We're projecting from there. Both can be done. Okay. Let's go on. I'll project from here only. So I'm projecting here only. So they'll not be able to see the remote people. They cannot see. Here's some talk that I've given, so parts of the Over here. So thanks, Professor Hariharan, first of all, for inviting me here. Thanks to Krishnan, he had to leave, I guess, for connecting us together and giving me this opportunity of connecting with all of you. As he said, I am an academic, so I like to interact with everyone here. I might look like I am teaching a class, which please pardon me in advance, right? So before that, I wanted to know how conversant you all are with Gen AI and terminology, even though Krishnan set the stage as, don't get afraid, but I thought to be a good user, you need so where they're coming from, what is their genesis, understand the technology behind that a little bit. And then user, obviously, we are all using already. We'll learn more. I'll give some techniques on how to use slightly better, get more out of the systems, right? I'll teach some of that briefly. So can I get a brief introduction for, no, not one by one, obviously, just a general profile of people who are here.
Thank you, Dr. Tricha, for that. In fact, we have all the researchers of our foundation joined us, but as Krishnan mentioned, we have our head office in Chennai and also the field centers in locations like Wayanad, Pumpuhar in Tamil Nadu. Then in Odisha, we have a location in Jaipur. So like that, today's participants are also coming from different backgrounds as well. The foundation staff, if I have to put them in 3 buckets, those people who are dealing with scientific issues, we call them as scientific stream, where they basically have a doctorate and at a higher level, they will work with science-related issues, both hardcore as well as social sciences. And the second stream is the development stream, where they are the connectors with us to the field, and they know the field problems in a very big way. And they are the one who will also give us the clues that where exactly the issues are and how people are expecting a solution for certain problems and so on. And the third stream is the support stream. Most of our, support staff forms that group. But in this particular meeting, we have both the
category of application
stream as well as the development stream joining us. So you can have a mix of these people. But when it comes to AI, AI is a new thing for many of us.
Okay.
In fact, I myself call as an illiterate when it comes to understanding the AI issues and things like that. So that is one. So we are all looking forward to hear you. But on the other side, on the day when I was speaking to you, I was telling, way back in 1992 itself, MSSRF, whenever there is a new technology that is emerging, we always wish to take that to the farmer or to the tribal or the fishers to make use of that technology better, so that it will be providing them an opportunity to improve their livelihoods, better management of the natural resources and things like that. So from that backdrop, now AI we are at the right stage. where it is galloping, but at the same time, it need to be in the hands of the people
Correct.
where it will work better for them. So on that backdrop, we are, we are looking forward, and thank you very much. Yes.
Thank you. So yeah, glad to know the profile of people who are here and the context for where we are looking to integrate AI into our operations and processes over here. So yeah. The agenda that I have set out here, you said some agenda you have.
No, it's, basically after Dr. Krishnan's speech, we wanted to give to both you and Raghu so that collectively we can, you can inform, you can speak to us, and then we'll slowly the crowd will also become interactive. Yes.
Maybe I'll start with interaction and
Yes,
see
you
how
can pull them up.
Yeah, is using AI currently. So get some feedback on that.
There are a lot of potentials and scopes available with us.
That
Thank
would
you.
be good for
Yeah,
me
I
to
stop here.
So what you're currently using, I'll come to the more important question, what is AI later, but first let's see on what you're using AI for.
I request all of you to be more interactive, and you can speak about your own, experiences and the things.
So what you found at the same time, what you're using for, and then what is good, what you liked about it, and what you didn't like, maybe where there is scope for improvement specifically for your use case, for your scenario that you're using it for.
I'm Nagarajan, heading JS and Remote Sensing Laboratory here, where we extensively use satellite image processing, where we use deep learning and machine learning algorithm to classify the satellite images. And recently we launched one program also where we are going to use Geo AI to quantify and monitor the blue carbon ecosystem in the Tamil Nadu coast, actually, with collaboration of Microsoft. So we monitor the blue carbon ecosystem using geospatial artificial intelligence. We're going to collaborate with the Microsoft also on that, actually. Yeah, that's all.
Nice. So already collaborating with Microsoft.
Yes. Yeah.
Nice.
Thank you.
And any issues that you're facing, or Microsoft is there to?
Yeah. For AI part, yes, we are expecting support from Microsoft team, actually. So just to program another thing, actually. Okay. Because we are strong in analysis part, actually. So programming part, we are expecting their knowledge. Yeah.
I was just telling, there are at least in 4 major verticals. I know at least many of us see the potential of application of AI tools so that we can take it to the next level. MSSRF is working extensively in the coastal regions. We have a program called Coastal Systems Research. We look both landward and also the marine-based approaches for NRM and also for improvement of livelihoods. And basically, technology provision to the people is also the fundamental dimension. So in that dimension, we have enormous amount of data. Blue carbon is one of the emerging area, and where we can use these applications. Number 2 is the conservation of agrobiodiversity. My colleague, Dr. Third one is we have a wonderful program called the Plant Clinic, working closely with the CABI Biosciences, wherein a farmer in the field can quickly capture the image in their mobile phone, and with that image, the other end will provide the prescription for addressing that particular issue. So enormous amount of photographs are available, and also the prescriptions are also available. So for ML program or for the application, that is another potential area. The fourth one, Dr. Krishnan mentioned about the fisher-friend mobile application, wherein it is almost used by around 2 lakh fishers in our country, right from in the entire coast, both in West Coast and East Coast. And the major stakeholders, including the fisheries department of various governments, Bengal to Gujarat, everyone is also part of it. We are also handhold with INCOIS, part of the getting the weather related and other key information from them, connect it to the last mile through the Fisher to their smartphones. They get that particular information. It also provides the market information as well. So in a way, these are all some of the immediate areas where people can. But in this workshop, we look forward. Dr. Soumya's, our chairperson's idea is to explain about the whole developing field and how we can effectively use it for our proposal writing, report writing, or in our day-to-day applications, how we can really, use them effectively.
Okay.
Yeah, this is the backdrop.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. So the way I was planning is that. Yeah.
I think Hari sir has listed out where we are. In the future also, we are looking at options where we can adopt this AI technology to look at soil health, which is one of the important area of research which is coming up, and where the farmers can benefit out of this technology to understand about the nutrient status of their soil. So this is one concept we are looking at, application in soil health.
Hello, may I, can I ask a question, please?
Yes, please.
Yes, Gautam.
Yeah, hi, my name is Gautam. I work with the climate change team. My exposure with AI is very basic, for instance, perplexity and, similar kind of stuff. But there are a couple of doubts which it's there whenever we sort of think about AI. The first is, would it be correct to characterize, Gen AI specifically as a turbocharged auto complete, right? It is sort of predicting, it is sort of being trained on a large data set, and it is giving you outputs, the most probable outputs, right? So its level of intelligence is not the same way as how we perceive intelligence. And second, and more relatedly, if that is so, it is doing brute correlations, right? And as researchers, more often than not, we are looking at causality than correlations. We have to infer things from a set given of data and not just find correlations. So how do we sort of, especially in terms of research? I do understand its use in, let's say, data organization or pattern recognition, for example, in protein folding and things like that, where it makes things. But in terms of getting data and inferring something from there, as opposed to simply finding correlations, what can be done there? And what is being done there? Thank you.
Okay, so thanks, Gautam, for your questions. The first question, actually, you nailed it on the head. So if you look at it very technically, the Gen AI, or in particular ChatGPT and such systems, are, the way you phrase them, turbocharged predictors or sentence completions mechanisms, where they're trained on extensive corpus of data, and they use that information to predict what would be the most probable, most likely next word or set of words to follow that, the past input that has been provided to them. Okay, so it is a turbocharged predictive system. By that definition, it seems to imply that there is no intelligence in it, right? The intelligence, the way we think, we are able to correlate things, we are able to plug in different pieces of information to put together a new chain of thought, right? That doesn't apply to a GPT kind of system as is, but we are making huge strides towards achieving what is called as the AGI or singularity systems, where we are moving towards these systems becoming sentient, becoming what we would call them as intelligent systems. Even though to a user, as of now, they already seem at a very mature level of intelligence already, right? So I don't know how much for you guys, but now ChatGPT is at the tip of the tongue for even 4-year-olds and 5-year-olds, and everything. They don't even want to believe their teachers and just go to ChatGPT for getting all the information. So we think that we are there in terms of intelligence, but actually, technically speaking, we are not there. We'll get there. So that's kind of answering question 1 that Gautam raised. Second part about these systems being more of causal systems than being correlating systems. Yes, so again, from the extension to the first part, the concept is that they are predicting the next set of words based on the previous set of words. So that lends itself to causality, not so much of correlation. Right, so they're looking more at a causal system from a GPT perspective as of now. Yeah.
Hi, I'm Pius, working in climate change department. So just taking this forward conversation, so I wanted to just intervene right now.
Sure.
The one thing is correlation versus causation, but again, when you have a set of data, like, of course, it may be helpful, but when it comes to judgment, like policy making or, so the judgmental part of the AI versus human intelligence, I think that is still, that we need to take a standpoint on this, right? And as probably I would be quoting Noam Chomsky, where he said that AI was mostly for the scientific writing. It's mostly a plagiarizing, which is not being caught by a plagiarizing software, something what he said, right? So mostly on the judgmental part, inferring the results, a human being resulting, like, policy making on a social issues, where quantitative data are there, also qualitative. So which weightage to be taken? Sometimes a part of the both, which is entirely data-based, but still you need to take a judgment. So on that part.
Okay, so good point. So continuing with what I was saying before, since we haven't yet reached the intelligence, right? We can't trust these systems with their judgment, or even if I take a step down, not even their reasoning skills as of now. Judgment comes after you're able to reason through the steps that come or make you reach a judgment level. Right? Reasoning itself is not very thorough, especially for mathematical based reasoning. Logical analytical reasoning is getting there slowly, but again, not 100%. So as of now, definitely there should be a human in the loop. There should be human verification of any output that we get from these systems. We don't want to be governed by machines at the end, right? We want to still be, the controlling power as of now, right? Leaving them to run things, deciding everything for us is not something that I think is going to happen in the near future, at least.
Was an answer in question before that long justice.
Yeah, but we are getting there. It's not very far that they will be at an equivalent level, and we will start trusting them. It's a point to be afraid of at one point. But okay. So again, if there's no more questions, maybe I'll go back to what I had planned. Just introduce terminology, introduce concepts to everyone. You become more conversant with AI. I can see that you are users, all of us in this room. ChatGPT doesn't need introduction, right? Does OpenAI need introduction? No, OpenAI also everybody knows. Okay, so let's begin with what is AI. What do you think AI means? And was it shocking when Krishnan said that AI has been here for 50 years? Did everybody think AI only started in November 22? No, AI was there. You knew about it. You had some idea. I mean, obviously, you guys are working with ML, but AI as such may have been an eye-opener at that point. But ChatGPT is the one that kind of opened AI and as again, I think Krishnan said a very good stage, made it more conversant to all of us, right? So now we can converse with these AI systems using our natural language, using our English. And by extension, now we are developing more and more systems where we can converse with our non-English languages as well. So the general agenda that I had in mind was actually this slide. I'll just skip through that. First, I'll briefly just introduce our company, work we are doing. We are developing a product, so just a couple of minutes on that. Maybe it will be useful for you guys as well because you are a lot into report generation and documentation. So I'll briefly talk about that, and then I'll get into AI introduction. So the problem that we are focusing on, or we are trying to develop a platform which enables people to collaboratively work on a document, right? So when you are writing a report, the typical process of report generation involves a person writing the first draft and then sending to their colleagues and peers, and then getting their feedback, getting their comments and reviews, incorporating those into the report. Maybe multiple rounds of back and forth happens there, and then send it to possibly if there is a superior to get their feedback and so on. And then again, feedback comes back, incorporate that, and so much back and forth happens, takes days, weeks, and so on. And finally, you'll have a report which is publishable and submittable and so on. In the process, if you would have noticed, there'll be multiple emails that will be floating around with different attachments. You would have seen, final version number 1, final version number 2, and so on, right? So if somebody misses a comment here and there is nobody to check what is going on. There is no track of who said what, when, whether it was incorporated into the final document or not, and so on. So that's what we are trying to facilitate with the platform, where everybody comes on the platform, incorporates their comments into the system, and also the system itself is intelligible. Otherwise, so far what I've described, you would say, how is it different from what Google Docs is doing? So the intelligence would come from the system itself, because system is connected to various of your previous documents and reports and policy documents and so on, and bring information from that into this new document that you're creating as well. Okay. So that's just very briefly on what we're thinking. So Word is a system that is there, has been around, everybody is comfortable with that, but finding drawbacks within that and then kind of improving upon that. So the AI component that comes into that platform overall is basically using this knowledge base of the other allied documents that you have within your organization, which can contribute to development of this new document that I'm talking about. Right. So that knowledge base contributes to your research, to summarization of your previous documents, new document that you're creating, the various steps that are involved in creating this new document. So that's something I'll skip from here. This is just a brief look at the team that we have. So we have me, Himanshu, who's our star founding engineer, has been with us for more than a few years now. He's actually a young person with a tremendous amount of experience and knowledge. Then there is Arvind, who's also an upcoming full stack engineer, Ankit, who's a star UI UX designer, and Divyansh, who's again a full stack engineer. And then Raghu, who's here. So with that introduction about the company and the product that we are developing in the AI use case domain, let me take a step all the way back and start introducing AI to all of you here, right? From a new technical perspective, basically. So please do not hesitate to stop me if anytime you feel I am being too repetitive, boring, or if it's interesting, give me that feedback as well, and then we can take it like that. So AI basically started with this concept of neural networks, which were trying to emulate the human brain neural networks. That's an analogy that everybody uses. But again, human brain is not very clear in terms of how it works. So the analogy just goes so far. It's not a perfect 100% analogy for how it works. So there is some neurons in the neural network, which will get triggered based on whatever input they are being fed. And then that output from those neurons triggers next neurons and so on. There's layers of these neurons stitched together to create a complete nonlinear neural system. These terms, machine learning, deep learning, they kind of make sense to everyone here. Do I know? Okay, talking. Okay, sure. Different levels, sure. Okay, so machine learning is a subset of AI. So I think I had asked a question, but I didn't elaborate on what is AI. AI is artificial intelligence that we all know. The idea is that we want to impart intelligence to these machines. As I said, we're not there yet, but we want them to be able to make decisions, to be able to take through the steps of reaching that stage of decision through training. Okay. Machine learning is a part where we don't reach the level of reasoning or judgment, but more of just replicating what they see as part of their data, training. Right? So machine learning is where we train the model, train the system on a certain large set of corpus of data, and then it tries to interpolate within the data set for new unseen samples of data. So an example may be something like what we mentioned about even the images of diseases in the various diseases in the plants, right? So you train the system for the image and then the corresponding disease. You give this labeled data, as it's called, and the system then can kind of interpolate from that. And if you give a new image, it can say looks like maybe it's a combination of so and so, or some form of this disease, some hybrid version of this disease, or something of that sort. Right? So that's basically machine learning. It works more on what is called as regression and classification and so on. I'll not get into that. Deep learning is where we start getting to use the neural networks, right? Emulate the brain, how the brain thinks. So make it a little bit of more nonlinear thinking. Right? That's what deep learning brings into the mix. AI is a slightly more, how do I say, even a subset of deep learning. So we're trying to achieve intelligence with AI, again, using through neural networks and larger neural networks in simple terms. Okay, so that's, I thought, something that's very pertinent. So there's 3 set of cartoons. If you can read through this, one says, what will be the impact of ChatGPT? So this is kind of an oldish one when ChatGPT was out, but I think still relevant. So the boss is asking what will be the impact of ChatGPT on our business. And the employee says there's a lot we don't know for sure, like how much of what it says is made up or true. Will it take away our jobs, or the security risks, or if it could damage our reputation? But we know that we need to use it, right, for sure. So there's a lot of ifs and buts, but still we need to use ChatGPT or such systems. This is the question that you were asking, and that's why I didn't answer it like that. So these are all systems which are, as we said, turbocharged predictors. So the next token is nothing but picked something. Okay, token I didn't introduce, but maybe hang on to that for some time. So the next word that comes out is picked from the subset of the training words that were used to train this model. And that subset is created by someone, right? So in some sense, it's not creating anything new by itself. it's basically plagiarizing. Right? So then at what point do we stop calling it plagiarism and call it intelligence or novelty? Right? So that's also something that is debatable at this point. Right? And we don't have an answer. We just say, let's ask ChatGPT. And this is all also, many of you might be doing this in your daily lives. No? I see some nodding head, one over there, and Professor Hariharan. So, we use it extensively to write any email, and the other side also says, okay, why should I read this long email? Let's just summarize and get the gist out of what is going on over here. So this part is more about just, again, terminology. Why is it called generative AI, which is, we have discussed already. It is called generative because it generates the next token. But the next, okay, token, I've said it a couple of times. Do you know what token is? Okay, so that becomes a technical word only. For all practical purposes, we can call it a word. But in reality, what these systems generate is tokens at a time. And to give an example, if I say, I am talking, right? Then talk is the base word in that talking. Because from that talk, I can make talked or talking or, will talk, kind of. Different words can be generated from that base word. So talk and ink become two tokens for this sentence creation. So I am talking will be made up of actually, I think 6 or 7 tokens. So I space, am space, talk, ink, full stop, and end of sentence. So many tokens would make up that one sentence. Okay, so these systems basically generate tokens as their output. Okay, so the next token is based on the previous tokens that we have input into the system. So it seems like they are again intelligent, but then the token generation is based on probability of what is the most likely token given the previous tokens that are input into the system. So that previous set of tokens that we input in the system is in technical terms called as a prompt, right? Which I'm sure everybody is aware. So when we open ChatGPT and we write a statement or question or whatever, do you think that's all there is to the prompt, or there is more that goes in the system? By system, I mean ChatGPT, and what I'm trying to hint at is that all these systems that we interact with, they have also something which is called as a system prompt, which is a common set of instructions given to these systems. There's a lot of components to that instruction, but the simple one I'll pick up for now is, don't be harmful. For example, let's say if you have, I hope you haven't done, but if you were to ask, how to make a bomb, right? ChatGPT is not supposed to give you an answer on how to make a bomb, right? It is not supposed to be harmful. So if you just say how to make a bomb, then if it was a system just based on prediction, it will give you an answer. It will give you the instruction because it is trained on all of it data. But the system, to be making it more human friendly and helpful and harmless, the system prompt says, there are certain boundaries that are set for this system. You shouldn't cross those boundaries, right? For example, don't use profanity, be helpful and honest, and so on. Right, so some terminology, I thought I'll use this platform. So just to ask if you know all of these and what I can talk about. NLP stands for natural language processing. That is basically, it was a field that was there before this ChatGPT era. It was more of understanding of English language. Now it has extended to how we can use this English language to, again, to help us to put these systems together, talk with them in English, how they understand and decipher this English language that we input into this, and how they put also, right? So how they put together these tokens to create a coherent. That's NLP. Neural networks, as I said, is basically the technology behind this whole field of Gen AI / AI / deep learning, right? LLMs, everybody is aware for large language models, right? Okay, so LLM stands for large language model. That is basically, so large language model. So there are two parts to this, large and language model. Language model is because, as I said, they are trained to emulate the human language, right? So they're language models. They understand I am talking is a valid sentence, whereas I am talked is not a correct sentence. So they understand the model of the English language. So that's a language model part of it. Large because there are two parts to it. One is they are trained on a large corpus of data. For example, ChatGPT, do you know what it is trained on? What it is aware of? So everybody knows Wikipedia, right? So entire Wikipedia is just one of the many, many data sets that ChatGPT has read, right? I can say read, claiming that it's a human knows to read, but basically it is trained on all of that data. It is trained on every possible published and unpublished book, fiction, non-fiction, and so on. I'm not allowed to read textbooks.
Some economic query which I was just figuring if it is like it can answer properly because I knew already the answer. It was writing it wrong. So I said, go and read some textbooks.
Okay.
He said, I'm not allowed to read textbooks.
So that's again part of the guardrails that are there in place. There is
references from which it has taken the
correct.
Yes.
Correct. So there is there was a lawsuit against OpenAI by New York Times, if you're aware, saying New York Times articles were quoted verbatim by ChatGPT, and they said it's a violation of our copyright of the data. So it's not supposed to do it technically, but then it has no recourse to other than doing that. Correct.
But not has access to the larger Google, which Google has. So I think there is some.
Right now, no. So right now, if you were to ask ChatGPT, ChatGPT can access the web. Right?
Yeah.
So you ask it to look at a certain website, it will look at that website and give you answers based on that website. So it can read everything. It may be just giving you a diplomatic answer saying I can't read textbooks.
Okay.
Because of late, what I've seen is for one of my use cases, I wanted to infer the gender from a sentence. And sentence is, if I give a sentence like, I am a male, I'm a 40-year-old male, and tell me the gender from this sentence, I cannot tell you the gender. I was shocked. So they're putting more and more of these guardrails because of actually the issue that you kind of mentioned, plagiarism plus the, making it more helpful, harmless, and so on. They don't want to show the bias that has gone into the training data. So they're trying to, quote unquote, improve the system.
But we have also checked with certain already databases which are available in Wikipedia, like who is the current chairperson of IPCC and all. And so we checked with both ChatGPT and Gemini, and both had a different answer, with Gemini being more accurate rather than ChatGPT.
Understandable because of Google.
Yeah, so not accurate, both of them, but somewhere Gemini was better, near to what we were expecting, but not still correct.
So these are constantly evolving systems always. as of now.
But I'm still skeptical if ChatGPT is allowed to read textbooks or not, because it was never able to give me the right answer.
I am not sure. It has already read
I think you can
textbooks.
check just now.
Maybe recently published textbook, it doesn't have access to it, maybe.
No, it's very old age theories of economics. So
Okay,
so
it should be aware of all of that.
you may check it. I mean,
Sure,
you
we
test
can
it,
look
so.
at it after that.
No, but textbook based theories, I'm talking about, something like that.
Okay, and you are saying something? No, behind you, I think. No, okay. Okay, so I was talking about the large language models. The first part is the amount of data that they are trained on. That's why it's called as large. And second is also because the size of the model itself is very, very large. It's a billions of parameters that go. And by parameter, I mean, you can think of one neuron as one parameter. So billions of neurons go into one model. Okay, so that is why it is called as a large language model as also. And we need this kind of scale because that's when we'll be able to read all of this data and synthesize and ingest and store the information that is there in all of this data. Thus, if we go with a smaller model, we'll not be able to gain the same level of performance that we get from these larger models. So LLMs. Foundational models are, for example, ChatGPT or Gemini and so on, which are trained on a large corpus of data. They are multi-skilled. You can call them as jack of all trades. They can do a lot of stuff. What we do is we then fine-tune these models for our specific purpose. So for example, we talked about the disease inference from the images, right? The classification of images. So that becomes then a very, very specific task. And we don't need a model which knows, French and Latin and everything to work for this model. It's not going to be very skilled at that particular task. The example that I've heard somebody say is you can think of foundational models like a general purpose MBBS doctor, whereas a specialized skilled doctor and MD becomes a fine-tuned specific model who's skilled at a specific organ in our body. Right? So foundational models are like MBBS, they know everything, general practice physicians, and foundational models then can be fine-tuned to specialize in a particular area, and they then become a fine-tuned model. Multimodal is now GPT-4o. Everybody knows we can input images. I think we can even input audio, video with that, and then it can work with that. So that's multi-modes of input that we can provide to this system. That's a multimodal part of it. Parameters is as I was saying, the number of neurons, those configuration parameters, that's for the model. Embeddings is, as a user, we talk to these models and they output back to us English. But at the end, they're basically computers. Right? So computers don't understand English. Computers only understand binary code, zeros and ones. So what needs to be done is to convert this English into zeros and ones. The computer works upon it, finds the next token, again in zeros and ones, and those tokens get converted back to English. So this embedding is this conversion of English into numbers, into these zeros and ones, right? It's not just blind conversion. Obviously, we have to capture the meaning of that word, meaning of that sentence into that embedding. So there's a whole field of research that goes into how to create good embedding so we don't lose the meaning of that sentence. RLHF is reinforcement learning with the human feedback and preference optimization. This is more of aligning these models with our human expectation, as I was saying, so putting the guardrails in place, what kind of output it should not generate. It should not generate profanity in the answer. So that's more of alignment of the model with the human expectation. Okay, so that's the RLHF technology behind that. We'll leave that. OpenAI, I guess I asked about it. Everybody knows. Anthropic, also have you heard? No. So Anthropic is another competitor to OpenAI. There is a model called Claude, CLAUDE, which is also a very large model. Just like ChatGPT, there is a web interface. I think Claude.ai you can try. Right? Anthropic has various models. Claude is the one that's openly available. It's supposed to be better at code generation for coding purpose compared to OpenAI. That's useful to look at that. But again, since we don't want to trust one model wholeheartedly, completely, always good to get a second opinion on anything. You can have two tabs open, one for ChatGPT, one for Claude, and look at Claude's answer as well. Copy paste your prompt. Okay. NVIDIA. The graphics card, okay, in this context, the graphics card, which provides us basically the image based for gaming, but not in this context, right? Here it's a GPU, the graphics card, which provides us faster processing capability as compared to a CPU. So these large models, you have to do a lot of computation to be able to actually find the next token. The next token of the output goes through that entire billion parameters to find that one token. So that has to be computed very, very fast, right? So that's why we use bunch of NVIDIA GPUs, typically NVIDIA, if anybody is following, how the stock has gone up in the last few years. Okay. Hugging Face is a platform that provides open source models. So there are people in the community who are not for profit and put models on the Hugging Face platform for everybody else to use. So obviously, don't expect to be able to use ChatGPT or Claude at your side. Why? Because you do not have, I'm assuming, that kind of resources, that kind of GPU power cluster that is needed to run those models. But smaller models for niche purposes can be downloaded from Hugging Face and then run on our systems as well.
Developing this is one. Our larger agenda is to also give this particular technology to the larger sections of the society, the small and marginal farmers or the fishers and so on.
Right.
So when we develop something on platforms like Hugging Face,
correct,
then
we can reach out. Yes,
we can reach out.
We will be able to train the models on our system and even host the models on our system. So then it's available to our people.
But how stable these models are and how competitive when it comes to?
So in their niche area, they'll be very competitive.
Okay.
So again, as I was saying, from ChatGPT, you can expect a jack of all trades kind of behavior. Whereas a smaller model, you train it for a specific purpose, it will do well in that purpose.
Yeah.
Hallucination is a term that everybody should be knowing. Right, and that kind of ties into why we can't trust these models completely. They are known for their hallucination. It is getting better, but cannot be eliminated completely because, again, they're not completely aligned with what we expect, what we think is the right answer. They will give you as what they think is the right answer, which may not be always based on the data that we have provided to them. So bias and ethics of these models is also questionable. Do you know why it's questionable? They're not human, so they're not biased, right? I would think we humans have our internal biases and ethics that go along with that, but these models still have bias as well. The reason for that is the data that they're trained on is coming from humans. Right? So that is why the models have bias. And as I was saying, that's something they're trying to remove and work towards. So the example I was giving, it couldn't even tell me the gender of from a sentence. These models, as part of the system prompt, as you were saying, they are asked to be helpful, honest, and harmless. That's the triple H. Be helpful. If a question is asked, try to give as much information as possible. be honest, be accurate, and harmless. Don't give information that could be harmful. Explainability is actually questionable at this point. We don't have visibility of what goes on inside that neural network to give us the final output token. Even if we are hosting the model on our side, we right now don't have visibility into step-by-step of why it chose this particular output token for this given input. Right? And we all know that for the same input, we are not guaranteed to get the same output every time as well, right? That's a behavior everyone has observed, I'm sure. You give the same question, you get slightly different answer. Meaning may be same, words will be different. Sometimes even the meaning is different as well. Anthropomorphism and AGI is more of trying to give a human-like behavior. That's the anthropomorphism. We think they're human and we talk to them almost like you are our dear friend. Human-like behavior we attribute to these systems. AGI is something we'll get to in some time. I think many of these terms are already talked about. Token is done. Fine-tuning is also done. Temperature is what? Is temperature any idea? No? Okay, so I think the concept is very similar to our scientific concept. If we increase the temperature of a substance, it gives more volatility to that substance, right? So just like that, if we increase the temperature of these models, there is more volatility in the output of the model. What it translates to is more randomness in the output of the model. Right, so okay. In the web interface of ChatGPT, we cannot change the temperature, but there is something called as a playground. Maybe I can show you here. So OpenAI provides this interface also called as Playground. So Playground or platform.openai.com/playground. So here you can choose your model, which model you want to work with, different models from ChatGPT or OpenAI. You can give some system instructions. By system instructions, I mean more like, you are an expert researcher in the agri-tech area. Give it more role to assign to it, right? And okay, so that's something I was going to talk about later. Have you seen this, that if you give a more specific report to the system, you get a better answer or different answer? No? Okay, so I'll show that. Okay, this is I'll come to that one. This is the user message, the typical question box that we see in the ChatGPT interface. And if you see here, why is it so? I think because of the projector. You see, right, there is temperature, maximum tokens, and how much you want your maximum answer length to be. That's the maximum tokens on the output side. And then there is stop sequence. If you want specific character to be your last token, that's stop sequence. Top P, frequency penalty and presence penalty, we'll ignore that for now. Temperature is the most interesting one. So if you give a higher value, you will get very different answers. And you can change this temperature to somewhere from 0 to about 2. Okay, so 0 will be more of a deterministic answer system. So same question will result in same answer every time if we set temperature to 0.
This we have to go into settings.
Say again, sorry?
No. How we set this?
We just do on that slider bar here.
How do you get to this screen?
Okay, so that's this website I was showing, platform.openai.com/playground. So this is OpenAI Playground. If you just search OpenAI Playground, right, you go to that website only. You just go there. For all practical purposes, same as ChatGPT, except you get the flexibility of temperature and I mean, I am okay. I can go whenever the audience has had enough of me. They can tell me that and take a break.
Okay.
Okay, we'll take a break then. So.
See, during tea breaks, they will interact with you more.
Sure.
So that then the, yeah, for any.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll get started. I'll slightly change gears a little bit now. Let me do a little bit more of a hands-on and practical advice than conceptual and terminology based. So what I wanted to do is give you a demo of ChatGPT only. I'll use that as a system. Let me ask a question like, explain. Can you give me some question from your domain? Let's say something, explain. Can I have some disease name? So what I want to illustrate is the more information we give in the prompt, the role that I was talking about, the answer gets better. Right? That's what I wanted to show, because it seemed like you're not aware of that simple technique that can be used to improve what you get from ChatGPT. So sorry, pad. Okay, so if I give something like this, explain about diseases in the paddy crop. So we get a list of diseases and some symptoms and so on. I will not go through this whole thing. I can stop this. I'll be nice. you are a agri-tech researcher in the field and I'll paste the same question. Right, so simple thing that I did is I assigned a role to this ChatGPT system. And you take that, you assume you are a researcher, agri-tech researcher who has been working with a 20-year experience. Now you talk on that topic. And I don't know if it's visible over here because I truncated the first answer. See, I'm getting more detailed answer. Just even in the first one, if I see from a layman perspective, small gray or white lesions with brown borders on leaves, and now I'm getting more like a diamond shaped. Also, so just by doing one simple change, I'm getting a lot more information back from ChatGPT. It's the same model, nothing changed. What I am doing is just asking for in a slightly different way.
Can I ask one question?
That is very relevant to everyone. We all should this is something, if you have heard, known as prompt engineering, right? Some of you would have heard this term. So a simple prompt, simple question will give you a simple answer. You get more detail in the question you're asking. You can probe more and more the system and get more detailed output.
Can I ask one question? Yeah, I'm from Wayanad.
As a source of data, I didn't understand. So as a citation, you want to include in your no, it's not at that level because it's not generating data. It's not an authentic source. Not recommended in scientific community, no.
We can here type no, please find that your source data. Then they provide links.
Well, you can get the link out of there. I thought he was asking. You shouldn't be doing it. This no.
So what is the publication? No, they're asking if it is ChatGPT, please acknowledge it. You have to do that.
Yeah. Can you ask the references so that sometimes the reference itself will be missing?
And also, if we ask about site-specific or location-specific statistical data, that will also it will not give authenticated statistical data.
Yeah, site-specific data.
Yeah, site-specific statistical data like panchayat level data or block level data. It will not give authenticated data. It will simply say no. For the authenticated statistical data, you please refer government database and all.
Correct. But what I understand are two different things. The question you were asking is the output that we get from ChatGPT, can I include as a reference in my research publication? That's not recommended. ChatGPT can give us references to the material it is using to generate this answer. So those references we can use, but after validation. Again, at this point, I don't advise you to.
Yeah, for writing a small proposals kind of thing, or article or case studies kind of thing, it will not give authenticated statistical data.
Yeah, but data specific, I don't think it will give actually. Only for general things it can.
Correct. So that is what we enhance these models by something that if you might have mentioned RAG, right? That's retrieval augmented generation, where we say, okay, these models we use power to generate text, but that text is based on the data that we provide to the models. So government documentation that even Krishnan talked about before, the policies, what are the current systems, all of that is supplementarily added to the system to base their answers, to base the system answers on this extra information. Right? So that becomes a slightly advanced system where we complement it with additional source of information. Right? From the base system itself, it tries to give answer based on the knowledge that it has, the data that it has read through, but that's limited. So if you see, I asked for references. Please direct me to further references on BLAST. Right, so it gave me some links, but many times I've seen these are made up links. These are not actual openable sites. Okay? So we have to, again, use our judgment. We can't just blindly paste these into our documents that we are creating as well. So that's one thing. Taking it more formal, as I was saying, prompt engineering is a field of, that has become very prominent in the last year and a half since ChatGPT has been made public. So it's a field that has numerous courses online. It's a field that, you will find LinkedIn ads saying, you can earn $300,000 a year being a prompt engineer. So it seems very lucrative. It is useful with a simple prompt that I showed you. The way you craft the prompt is important. You can get more out of the same system. A screenshot of a course. This is again another course. This is just saying another course, enroll for I think $800 is this course fee and so on. I didn't put that LinkedIn screenshot. Just to give you basic terminology, what you should do in the prompt, you should. So one thing we have to realize is that, like almost everything, we can't expect to be perfect in the first go itself. Right? So we build over this conversation with the system, give feedback on the output that we have received and refine the output more and more. So it's an iterative process. We start simple, basic what we need, and then review that answer and give more detailed inputs on what we need from the system. So we start simple, we instruct on do like this. We should be very specific in what we want from the system, and this can come over the course of the conversation that we are having with the system. To avoid impreciseness, again, part of being specific, very clear on what we are asking for. And the other general instruction is more tell the system what you want. Don't tell the system what you don't want. Okay? So because what you don't want kind of leaves a big room of possibilities. So what you want, you should tell. What should be done? So something like don't be harmful is kind of seems to be the same as be harmless, but then be harmless is better than don't be harmful. So we should tell what you want out of it, what to do, not what not to do. So the programming way of accessing the system, we break our input into 4 different components. Instruction, the system instruction is what I was actually showing in the playground. Something like we program the system saying you are an agri-tech researcher with a bunch of experience specializing in the climate tech area. You know about so-and-so people, and you read this many textbooks, kind of, we give more role to the system. So that is the instruction. More of a context is also added, saying, context is you're talking about today's, this era, the last 5 years kind of weather. So that's the context you're adding there. The input data is the question that we are asking, and then the output indicator is sometimes we want the output to be formatted in a specific way. Right? This is more of a programmatic thing. If we are interfacing with another system, we want, if you're looking at a report, we want abstract, introduction, and so layout. So we say, give me an abstract, give me an introduction kind of layout. So what is the output that we want from the system? Also, we can specify in the input as well. So these are the elements that should go in the prompt. There are, this figure just illustrates the impact of having a good prompt. If we give a simple prompt like this, okay, this is my passage, and what we're trying to do is, let's say, a summarize of a text, right? Okay, before I'll talk about that next. What we are saying here is, I will give a system prompt as summarize this passage. I give the passage here, write the text of that passage over here. I say answer colon, and I leave this blank over here, right? Expecting ChatGPT to fill in the text summary of this passage over here. If you see, this one corresponds to an accuracy of only 3%. That means this summary will be not good, right? In simple terms. Simple change here. Passage, text, answer, colon, text. This is going to improve my accuracy to 80%. This may be a slightly skewed result. Obviously, I don't think at this stage, this is an oldish figure. But what I wanted to illustrate is the importance of changing your prompt. So it seems like we are doing the same thing from here to here. All we did was remove a new line character, right? Instead of putting this in 2 lines, we put in 1 line and seems to increase our accuracy. So you can even call it as more of a hit and trial system at this time. There's no reason for why it should change, but I mean, that's been observed. OpenAI is trying to fix things like this. Simple syntax kind of things are being fixed, but definitely what you put in that prompt will have an impact on what you get as an output. Right? Where you should follow more of this kind of system that I was talking about. So there are few techniques that we should use to improve our prompting. Okay, so the first one is called zero-shot prompting, which I was showing you that, talk to me about the diseases in the paddy crop. Actually, with that example, it's slightly tough for me to explain zero-shot, few-shot. Maybe I'll slightly change my example. What example can I use? How to improve nutrition in community. Okay, maybe that will work. So if I just say how to improve nutrition in the community, I'll get a set of steps for what should be done. Okay. That is zero shot. I did not give any extra information to the system. By shots, I mean some examples of what I'm expecting as an answer. So in the zero shot, there is 0 examples of possible outputs into this system. In few shot, we give few examples of the kind of output that we are wanting to generate. Okay, this typically works in the same question of how to improve the nutrition in the community. If I give possible answers, could be more of a micronutrient enriched diet, more of a balanced diet. I give inputs like this, I'll give slightly better output from the system as well. More typical examples that are used to explain this concept may not be so true anymore. And why I'm saying that is because the systems are still constantly evolving. GPT-4 itself has different versions of model getting trained every day and getting published every day. So if there is those riddles that we all use, right? If 2 sacks of potato is kept in a corner and somebody took 2 more sacks and put and one sack was removed and so on, you give slightly complex question like this and you ask for how many sacks of potato is left over there. ChatGPT will not give you a mathematically accurate answer. Okay, that is with the 0-shot prompting. With the few-shot prompting, you ask the same question, but you give a couple of examples of not the same situation, but a slightly different situation where it has to do some addition and subtraction like that. There is a chance that it will improve that first question answer also. The point I'm trying to make is with few-shot, you give some examples of the output that you're expecting, and it improves the output that we're getting from the system. I don't think I have any examples that I can show as of now over here. Okay, I'll look up for something and I'll show towards the end. Okay. The third one here is called chain of thought, COT, and these are more of reasoning kind of situations where we tell the ChatGPT system, don't just give me an answer. You actually think a little bit and then you give me the answer, reason out your answer. Okay? And then you see it starts reasoning and it improves the answer quality. Again, these are more of mathematical constructs, so I'm not able to think of how I can place over here. And that's why I'm a little bit hesitating at this point. Okay, more than this, let me actually go back to the prompt that needs to be. If I give a prompt like this, write a Facebook post to advertise my company's new product. My company's name is Alpha and the product is called Beta, a new ultra-fast hair dryer. Okay. This seems to be what I want. Right? Just improve this prompt by giving these elements to the prompt. The context is I want to advertise my company's new product. My company's name is Alpha, product is Beta, which is a new ultra-fast hair dryer. Objective is to create a Facebook post for me, which aims to get people to click on the product link to purchase it. Okay. Style, follow the writing style of successful companies that advertise similar products, such as Dyson. Tone is persuasive. Audience is my company's audience profile on Facebook is typically the older generation. Tailor your post to target what this audience typically looks out for in hair products. And response is the Facebook post. So basically the same thing, but giving it more context and role and setting. Right? And just by doing this simple thing, you will see a drastic improvement in the answer that we get from the system. So this is part of the prompt engineering that I was talking about. Playground, you want me to show that one? Yes. Okay, so it's not visible, but I pasted that. And I'll make the temperature as 2. Okay, that's really bad. Okay, we'll make the temperature as 0. Do it in chat over here. No, the reason I want to do a new chat is because why do I want to do a new chat? The conversation, I want to reset the conversation, right? I don't want to keep the history of what happened before. You see the impact of temperature? Zoom in, okay. Right? This is with the temperature of 0. I will redo with the higher temperature so that you can actually 1, it became 1. I had set it to 0. Default is 1. We'll do a high temperature. This is what I got as the output for that same prompt. Why is it like this? Is because again, ChatGPT, as I said, has read everything. So it has read not just English, it has read all languages. Okay? So it is now finding temperature lower and lower.
But we give an input like this. How would you keep the temperature low?
You have to keep the temperature low. So same prompt with a 0 temperature. How do we know what? Generally, if you want good answers, you just go to 0. There is no 0.1, 0.2, nothing. You go to 0 and just stay at 0. No.
This is playground. Actually.
This is playground. I can go to the regular ChatGPT. Same thing will happen there, except you don't have control on temperature. So I was illustrating the effect of temperature, which is available to everyone, not through paid version, in the playground.
What's the uniqueness of this playground?
Temperature control. So the use of temperature control is, if you want to say, I want to tell a story to my child, and you give temperature 0, you'll get the similar story again and again. You want more creativity, you have to go to a higher temperature.
But getting creativity, I understand. But this one is giving Arabic.
Correct, yes. Yes. That is actually surprising to me as well. I didn't expect it to give a mix of languages, which it's doing. So, but the general practice is if you increase temperature, you will get more creative answers. I didn't expect to get a mix of languages.
Especially, the people are developing the proposals as well as the applications. Mainly for setting the stage, they reach out to ChatGPT to get the current context and how to maybe shape up it.
Correct.
The objectives and other things already because of their interaction with the community or the contemporary community in the research field, they can define that. But when it comes to setting up the stage,
correct,
the proposal writing, and subsequently how right from the title to the outcome, they need to put all the knots together so that the proposal will look very clean and right from the beginning they will speak the same language to the committed output.
Correct.
That is where we wanted to see how effectively we can use.
Correct.
Yeah.
So there is 2 ways to go about it. One is we can work with plain ChatGPT through iterative prompting. So let's say we are working on a report for how to improve nutrition in a certain tribal community in a certain region, given the kind of crops that can grow over there, right? So you start with that basic question, and then you you start giving more context to that, right? And then the prompt will be, I want to write a report, give me a scientific report, giving the introduction and context setting and objectives and so on, right? So it will give you a template. Sorry? My friends from the audience, I'm not here. Definitely ChatGPT's English is better than mine. I can say that without hesitation. The content-wise, able to throw in certain elements of tying those elements together to create a cohesive picture of how the document should be laid out. Right, so it can give you a nice theme, as you were saying, of how consistent flow is maintained through the report. It will give you that layout. So that is actually good.
But often when we do a ChatGPT, suggestion, it gives a, kind of a one pager or not even one pager, half a pager or some bullets, and it stops over there. In many of our proposals, what basically the researcher is also looking at, they are not intended to do any copy and paste this thing. They wanted to get all the crux which are very essential to build up that particular proposal. For example, even to say how to improve nutrition in the society, there are several verticals through which we can address. So they wanted to bring in all those elements together in one place. That's where they are going to a place like ChatGPT to get, see, for example, how to improve nutrition in the young kids, in the mothers, in the geriatric population. So all these things they are collectively looking forward for in a search. So how to that's where
okay.
Yeah.
So again, two ways to go about this. One is we start with a simple prompt, and the human intelligence, we know what we are looking for. So that is the feedback we have to give to the system. So you didn't consider specifically the children age group. You give me, okay, so maybe an example of what you're saying is if you give a prompt like how to improve the nutrition in the society, it will give you generic output. You should do micronutrients and balanced diet and so on. Then you say, okay, cater your answer specifically divided by age groups, right? Because we know that's what we want. Then the second question we ask like this, and then it will start dividing. For children, you should do this. For middle age, you should do this. For elderly, you should do this. Right? Then that's how the iterative prompting with the system will work, that you kind of guide it towards what you want from it.
Yeah. But then again, then we have to verify and align them together so that that story will become
correct.
Yeah.
The plagiarism.
Plagiarism.
Because when we go for publications,
correct.
so some cases we have to declare and like things like, so in that case, how it can be managed and how the power of plagiarism, like in the ChatGPT or OpenAI.
You are asking in the sense that
the content generated from these and we can use for the publication. Yeah.
Okay. I don't know. I should show you this. I'll show you a website. Okay. I'll do a simple Google search.
That would be good. Actually, that's it. Tricha, one request is the CoStar framework, right? Or the other framework that you put.
Show example.
So you can put that and show, and then request some of the PhD students or whoever want to come on stage. They can type their questions and maybe we can together figure out, I mean, none of us know exactly how to get the best out of it's an iterative experiment, and then we can see how that works. Is that a okay thing, Hari?
Yeah, that will be, that will, at least when they see one research scholar does that,
right,
then they will get inspired.
Okay, so this is a famous one actually was Quillbot, which I don't know why it's not working right now. Quillbot, for some reason, maybe it's site is down or it's blocked over here, but this other one from CopyLeaks, if we paste the text here, it tells whether this text is AI generated or not. It's not a foolproof system. And we can, it's a website, there'll be paid version. I'm sure there is a pricing. There'll be a limitation, right, for the free version on the website. So if I paste, let's say this text, which was AI generated here, not so much. Let's do a new chat and okay, not this. See, this is not new material, but even this one, the way it's written, that tool will say that this text is AI generated. I hope I'm keeping my fingers crossed. Why didn't it work? See, AI content detected. Sorry? The output of all, whether it's ChatGPT, whether it's Gemini, will be similar. So it's just saying whether no, the other. Sure. You tell me where you want me to copy.
So earlier we were thinking about buying anti-plagiarism software. Now we need to also get a
Correct.
Yeah. No, I version we have.
It's also saying AI content detected. I really like that that Quillbot website, but somehow it's not working for now. Okay. Okay. Shall I go to that co-star framework only? I'll show that and then open it up to. Just for this one last thing, I'll demo this and then we can. This is at temperature 0, yes. We know that, correct.
The screen is not clear.
Screen is not clear. Is this better now?
No, not yet. Yeah, now okay.
That should attract the older generation.
Correct.
So what frequency what was the complexity in this?
In line with that?
Yeah.
Maybe even
then it's saying
less time styling, more time enjoying life. Maybe we can, yeah, shine at any age also, right?
They look at side effects compared to right because the older and younger change that copy the whole thing. Now that we can call out students real world younger than basically, it's telling you to be more structured in your question. It's nothing
Correct.
Like question says. If you ask the right question, you will get the right answer. It's all about one question. And very interestingly, people are charging thousands of dollars just for prompt engineering. They have made it an engineering field calling it prompt engineering. So there are strategies for questioning also. There's something called sequential prompts. So even one question, if you ask, I think she was explaining, right? Just ask one question, and then there is something called sequential retrieval, which is basically you chain it like a conversation, right? I mean, these techniques again and again. Why we want to repeat is it's all commonsensical. Don't get probably afraid of getting into this field because of these terms. But all these are commonsensical things, better English. That's why she used the slide, terminology. I think any new field that comes out always comes out with all these Greek and Latin kind of vocabulary or dictionary, which kind of puts off new people getting into the field. I think if our entire purpose of 2 hours, if you are able to convince at least 2 or 3 people, start thinking that Gen AI is not difficult or even AI is not difficult, and then we can move forward, and use it for day to day. I think we have done our purpose. If not, I think we have work to do. You can give us the feedback, right? That's what we want to take this forward with. Okay, so you can see the response, and then you can call some folks in the front and then ask.
Sure. I'll just show 2 more things very quickly, and then we'll ask people to say how they're using and what. Can go back to the screen. So this is also a website I found, which is more for research-oriented work. So I don't know if you have come across this before. Say goodbye to grammar issues in academic writing. So this is a model ChatGPT based only, which is fine-tuned more for academic writing purpose. So helps you with that. So if you give your prodream.ai. So if I say I want to write an essay or basically a document, and prodream.ai, I'm not. No, everything is paid. There's a free trial version. I mean, if you see the value, that's always they do, right? They hook you onto the system, you see the value, and then you start paying for it.
Because I'm having to use why are you not able to use? Is this because of plagiarism or money? What is the part? Sorry? Fee, yeah. So this, I feel, even from the days we were coding, right? We used to call ourselves carpenter with our own tools. So we used to take our own IDE, which is integrated development environment. We will come up with our own tools, which will look at the code and create sequential diagrams and stuff. So we are more productive than the next guy sitting next to us, right? So I think the time has come. This ChatGPT is more or less similar to a Google, right? And people are not going to look down upon you because you're using ChatGPT. And when Google came, there was already Stack Overflow. There was, Stack Exchange, where people used to copy code and put. There is nothing wrong with it as long as you don't just blindly copy, right? That's how ChatGPT is going to be. I think it's better to use it, and it saves a lot of time. It's your original idea. And what people are saying, at least from the coding environment, where I've been a programmer all my life, is the time will be spent on code reviews. Right, people are going to the SD ones, which is basically the junior programmers, are going to have a tough time. code reviews are going to be present. Same way, I think in the research, there are going to be research papers written, but then the productivity of a really good researcher is going to go up, and that of a one that's not really embracing the tool is going to go down. So I think, Professor, I think you should allow every tool possible. I think the guy with original thinking anyway is going to win. I think, I think gone are the days where it's going to be similar to any open book exams, Google searches and stuff like that. People with original ideas are going to get more creative. And if it involves money, I think it is definitely worth to invest in yourself and buy these tools, whatever is good.
So this one, actually, I liked it. Somehow it's not letting me do right now. So initially, I think the free version gave me the superpower only for 10 hours or so. So that time it actually gave a good outline of the document that you can create. And then if I asked for more, it started filling in those sections as well. So I'm not advising you to create. But we'll need to create an account with a Gmail address or stuff. So that's why you can try, we can connect to another system. So if you want to project yours, and then we can. This right now my computer. Okay, he's done it already. So then if touch screen, no, right? Okay. So then if we do, you made this account now, right? Okay, so even this one default that is there. So essay discussing challenges in conserving biodiversity in Amazon rainforest. But I can't, I'll have to type it. It's not. It's good. It's not tapping. This. Yeah. This is not a clickable link. Okay, I'll show you. Instead of taking everybody's time over here, we'll try it out. The other one is a commercial product. So since this is, I'll have to retry it. Just give me 5 minutes. I'll do that. It's a commercial product, not advertising them in any way. Right, Kisan.ai is converse in the regional languages in India, so cater to Indian farmers. You can change the language. I cannot read, sorry, but even your question here, if we click on this, we can type the question, gives the answer back in that. So it's ChatGPT, fine-tuned version of ChatGPT for the Indian agriculture context, and also then added more of language support. But a local Indian context. The system that Krishnan was mentioning in the morning, Jugalbandi, is a system, whereas this is more of a text-based system. Audio systems do face issues for now because speech-to-text and text-to-speech both are not very 100% accurate at this time. Given in India, there is so many, not just languages, but within each language, we all know there's so much variation. So capturing all of that is an ongoing exercise. Bhashini is doing, the other patients are also doing that. Once we develop more and more corpus of data, we'll get better at capturing speech and then working with speech end to end. So with that, I'll stop here for now. I think I'll open to all of you to come with your experiences, what you are using, what you would like to learn more if you have ability into that. Is that what would work? If anybody wants to.
But any researcher who take out what you are looking at, suppose them something like that and see how exactly we can do it.
Okay, sure. So there is something called as a text to SQL models. Okay, so okay, I see a text to SQL. So SQL is a language to talk to databases. Okay, so you can upload your CSV file of the responses, as you are saying, which will be stored in a database. It's not there as an end-to-end system for now, so we'll have to convert it into a database format. Then you ask your question in natural English. You supplement it by adding information about what kind of table you have, what are the columns, what are the meanings of those columns in terms of what information is being stored in those columns. If you give that information, ChatGPT will give you the query that can be used for that database to give answer to your question. Let me give you an example if I can over here. I'll use a simple example from my context, but we can.
Can you go back and show that again? Yeah.
They work as fast as you do. Right. So just to illustrate, my question will actually be in English language and saying, find me the number of people who have the role of manager. And the data that I've input into the system will be a CSV with 3 columns in this case: employee ID, employee department, and the role within that department. So I'll keep my fingers crossed, and I hope to get a SQL query, which will do an aggregate on the, basically filter on the role column. Right? I don't know how many people will be able to understand that SQL, but basically what I'm saying is select count as manager count from your table name where role is equal to manager. So this is saying all those rows where role is equal to manager in your CSV, give me the count of that, because I asked for how many people, right? Number of people. So give me count of those rows. So that's what.
Use some kind of analysis if we give a right prompt, like we need this kind of areas at main theme, something like that, if we give, will it give a kind of analysis?
It's getting there. I would say. So if you ask a specific question on, that's what actually I was trying to illustrate over here. I'm giving you the setup. You have uploaded an Excel file which contains that, but you have to supplement that by saying what is in that Excel file.
This takes lots of manpower, like.
Hmm. Just the total count of. Yeah, so you ask that question, you get.
One by one only we can do. Then there is no, no, I'm just asking you, like, because we have in social science, there are many softwares for data analysis, like SPSS, and this is for quantitative and qualitative NBO, strata, something like that. So I'm just correlating with these softwares, like we take much time to do lots of things in using these kind of software. So whether the AI help us to reduce time and will give a quality analysis, something like that, I just want to know.
Okay. The question I think is, can you do an exploratory data analysis without them specifically knowing about it, right? Can you maybe talk about the Pearson correlation or whatever? How do you do a EDA, right? Basic set of EDA, what are the steps involved in EDA? How do you create a prompt where you upload a CSV or some file, assuming there is no data limitation on the size and stuff like that? If they don't know what's in the data, they want to do an exploratory data analysis, figure out correlation, figure out certain interesting facts, some base stats like mean, median, whatever, and then they can expand on that. I hope, did I understand that question? Yeah. So agnostic of what's the field or whatever, they will just randomly upload a file. Obviously, if they give more context or exactly they know what they want will be good. What is the expected EDA that you can do? Assuming at least the CSV column headers are correct. So if you put, let's say, name and you put address there, obviously your hallucination will kick in. One of the examples, ma'am, is if you name a file saying Sherlock Holmes latest story, and then you upload some other content there about Gavaskar playing cricket, it will still think it is Sherlock Holmes. So there is a possibility of hallucination. So what I'm trying to tell is, if you upload a CSV and the columns are assumingly right and it is cleaned, let's say, can the prompt do the EDA? With the prompt, can we do the EDA?
I want to say yes and no for that question, actually, because the SPSS and other tools that you mentioned have been specialized for that purpose, and they've been doing that for years. Whereas the generative AI systems are more of a language-based systems. So yes, the expectation would be that you can ask your question in the natural language and expect them to give you the answer, but their reasoning capability is not there yet. So what you would do is, kind of what I was trying to show, is you take your question in the original English language. So give me an EDA on this, but then you convert this into a language which will be understandable by your SPSS system. And then you bring your SPSS as an integrated agent into this system. So eventually it fires the SPSS, gets answer from there and shows you here. I don't know if it kind of makes sense. Yes.
Yes, we have done it for any database. It's possible. That is what she calls it as a SQL agent. SQL is a language that understood by the relational tables. If it is not a relational table like a big DB, like MongoDB or whatever, there is a certain language. Basically, the intermediary stuff will be hidden from you. There are agents. So you basically ask in English. Behind the scenes, what happens is the code that has been developed will create the right set of query for your underlying system, like SPSS, MongoDB, or your MySQL databases. Those are called the agents. Currently, the agentic framework is
you just ask a question in an enterprise, you might have Gmail, you might have a database, you might have Slack, you might have this. The person who's asking the question need not be aware of it. He is totally shielded. There are agents which understand these data, there is metadata that's stored about that agent. This agent is meant for SQL. This agent is meant for certain Wikipedia pages. So internally, the system that we need to create is, agents that talk to each other, finally bring you an answer back, like what she was asking.
So a simple example, kind of getting to where you are talking about, is you can develop an agent which integrates with your calendar. So in the front end, you just say, schedule an event for me today from 10 o'clock to 1 o'clock, right? 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. You are just talking to it in normal English. Imagine, on the other hand, you had to actually go to your Google Calendar and set an event and so on. We don't need to do that. We just say, set an event for me today, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. or tomorrow or on September 15th, whatever. Set an event for me, September 15th, there is a conference I need to attend. Even book ticket for me. Right? So now you are giving the system instructions in English, but it is powered in the back by agents. There is one agent that will integrate with your calendar. There is one agent that will integrate with, make my trip to book a ticket for you. One agent that will integrate with your payment system to pay for that ticket. All this will happen in the background through multiple agents coordinating to get you what you want. In the front end, it will say event booked, ticket booked, all set.
I don't know code. I want to write something in Python to analyze some data, or I could say it in English.
Correct.
Okay, and I have this data set and I want to analyze it. So is it possible to generate code by just saying it in English? I want this to be done on this data, and I want the output from it.
Exactly. So that's, I showed with SQL. Same thing you can do with Python. Write me a Python program to detect whether a string is palindrome. I mean, the worst example I can give, but you just need to say that and you get Python code. All you need to do is copy, paste into your Python editor wherever you're working, and it works.
Okay. Okay.
And that's where I was saying in the beginning, Claude is slightly better at giving coding output as compared to ChatGPT. So if you're looking at code, you go for Claude.
Thank you.
Ma'am, just want to know that what is the best AI tool for literature review?
For literature review, I would say go for ChatGPT only. The other models will claim. Depends on prompt engineering, definitely. But capabilities wise, you'll see various blogs and places will say this model is beating ChatGPT. And from my personal experience, as of now, I haven't seen, which is across the board better than ChatGPT. More specialized models will be there. Just like I said just now, Claude is better at coding. So if you want to go for coding, you go for Claude, but textual based outputs, mostly ChatGPT will be better. Gemini is from Google. It has an advantage in the sense that the free version of ChatGPT, there is something called as a context limitation. You can only give so much, right? So only 100 pages of PDF you can upload in one shot. If your PDF is longer, you will not be able to upload that. Gemini has a longer context length. So you can upload 500 pages and ask questions on that.
Yeah, so it was the same thing actually. I just tried, I was doing my usual Google search. I just put lateral roots and salinity. I've never had an answer generated. I've always had options on pages to where to go and look.
Correct.
But off late, I find something is being generated and with links attached to it as references. So how does that happen?
So Google is trying to push for Gemini. So not just giving you links, redirecting to where the authentic sources of where Google picked up those search results, but also summarizing and saying, I am adding value from my side. You don't need to go to those websites. Your answer is here already for you. Right?
Yeah.
That is one. And I don't know if you have heard about this tool called Perplexity. Yeah. right? So perplexity is along the same lines. It's, I don't know, I haven't checked. Free one is there or no, or it's totally paid? Paid, I know. Free there is there. Okay, so it's the enhanced version of Google, which is powered by a model similar to OpenAI. So it will give you results, summarize the results. You don't need to go here and there. It gives you those references as well. You can go if you want, but it gives you the summarized answer right there for you. Correct. That's more of a coding way you want to go about it. I think that's not what. And also, it was more of people to come here and share their experiences on how they're using or.
So online participants, if you have any questions, please raise it. Any questions?
Yeah, can I ask?
Yeah, yes, Mr. Manilal, please go ahead.
In fact, earlier, sometime we were referring to understanding whether the writing is done by AI or not, because there are some software Turnitin, that is the plagiarism checker. It is used widely in academic circle, and it has its own component to find out whether it is generated by AI or not.
So,
because
voice is not clear, sir. Can you type it in the chat, please?
It's difficult.
Yeah.
And now it's okay.
It's better.
Okay, because I don't know, many of the people would have heard about Turnitin, in which there is a provision to understand whether the writing is done by any AI or ChatGPT kind of software. And actually, you were mentioning about plagiarism, more than 18% it is not acceptable. Because even with the PhD thesis, more than 25% is not accepted by the universities. And my question is not that one. My question it is, sometimes the references are not found even in the Google search. Probably it doesn't exist, and whether some ideas are drawn from those references, whether ChatGPT will correct itself. Again, it should not throw the same references.
So I got part of it saying references don't always work from what we get from ChatGPT, right? That was. Same reference should not be.
I think one more question, just one. In fact, as our Dr. Hariharan sir was telling, we rather work on the nutrition aspects of tribal people, because who are away from the mainstream, and there are a lot of local knowledge available, but it would not have come to.
Sir, your voice is not clear, sir. If you could please type it briefly in the chat.
Okay.
Any other question from the online participants?
Yes, I have one or two questions here. How actually some of these questions may be very stupid. Please tolerate it. Can AI help in data analysis in terms of data cleaning and in terms of outliers? Is they able to do that? And then is AI is able to help to prevent this language barrier. Suppose I want to talk to somebody in Orissa, Korean language, it's possible. And then is there a way the AI can capture photographs and then give analysis?
Okay. So the first question
Huh.
for the data analysis, to be very frank, at this point, no.
We don't know.
Okay. There is not enough mathematical reasoning in ChatGPT, I would say. General AI is the, you remember from the very first field, AI is the bigger circle. Inside that there is ML, inside that there is DL. So ML can do data analysis. So it can detect outliers, it can detect pattern in the data, is part of ML, but not the Gen AI as such as we know. That's more of a language capability with the Gen AI. So if you want to do hardcore data analysis, I would say you go for statistical tools, for ML-based tools, for data analysis.
My third question is about photographs.
The second question, I'll come to that for the language, that you can use ChatGPT very easily. So it will even write text in a different script. Right? So it doesn't have to be always a Roman script for English. If you say write in Tamil font, you will get Tamil output. Right? So that is the second question. Third question is about images. Can we upload images and
ask analysis? Suppose if I put some photographs.
Yes, so now with the GPT-4o, the Omni model, which is a multimodal model, you can upload images and ask questions on the image.
For example, I put one photograph of a plant and asking it what is the disease in this plant. Will it be able to give?
Google Lens will show.
Possible.
So it is based on the training data. If it was trained on these plant leaf images, then it will be able to detect based on that. That's what all the plant text app or Google image is also based. So Google image search is slightly different. It is trying to do matching. Right? It has been fed this image, this disease, this image, this disease. A lot of the data is there with Google. So when you upload a new image, it says which of these is the closest to what you uploaded now. And then the corresponding disease name, it says this is the disease name for this image. That is how Google is working. The machine learning models will try to identify, okay, this is the diamond shape lesion I'm seeing on this image. So now what is the which disease has this characteristic of this diamond shaped lesion? There it goes into image analysis. That's what machine learning or deep learning based approaches are doing that. So I hope, did I explain the difference between how Google search works versus deep learning based app? For example, even Plantex would have upgraded themselves to do something like this.
So the images ChatGPT, how do we do that?
Is the second approach. It's the more advanced approach, not a simple Google search. It doesn't maintain an index of just the disease and image. It's more of analysis on the image, what is going on in that image, and then do. So a simple thing like if I upload an image and ask how many cats are in that image, right? It will count. It's not just searching in its database of similar images and saying, okay, this image at 5, this image at 7, this one has 7 cats. It identifies the cats within that image and says, and counts and says there are 7 cats.
No, sir, I have a different question. After listening to you, very clear that we need at least a capsule course to understand what are the, searching is one dimension.
Right.
But when it comes to really some make use of this technology,
AI power, right?
I need to know a little bit of coding. I need to know a little bit of,
Correct. Integrate this into our use case. Yes. Correct. Yes.
Statistical analysis. So, is there any capsule course? Wherein, many of us are biologists. Basically do biology because of the fear on mathematics.
But coding is nothing to do with math, I can say that. So.
Is there any capsule course that is available so that we can recommend to?
I will look for something and share with you.
That will be super helpful. And with that, then and people will be able to track many
Sure.
areas that is completely
Sure. I'll look for something and share. Something from Coursera comes to the, yeah, I'll find.
Time is also a constraint to us.
Correct.
That's the reason I'm asking for a capsule. And with that, then later they can pick up the interest and look at. Okay.
Sure. How to bring local tribal knowledge relevant to nutrition and health into mainstream data so that chatbot kind of app can help the practitioners. I think this is where we need to supplement, as I was saying, with the retrieval augmented system. We bring in our extra contextual information into the chat GPT and program to be able to answer questions which are more pertinent to this data, which are more directed towards this data, which are better suited to get an answer from this data instead of the wide corpus that chat GPT has. Does that answer your question, sir? Anybody wants to come up here and talk? I think that was one of the requests from Professor Hariharan. On their experience or usage or limitations, problems. I think one, yeah, you were going to say something? No, no, okay. I get confused. I think you're raising hand to say something.
Actually, I used ChatGPT for collating one of the tables, basically the packaged foods in India. I wanted to understand the salt, sugar, and the fat content.
Right.
So then, because for me to go and check and then analyze, it was a very big thing. So just checked whether it can give me an answer. But then it gave me a very wonderful answer comparing all the products in the market, because I have specifically I've given the content like a snack and named it. So it gave me a very wonderful table comparing it and then exactly giving me how much more than the recommended RDA. So I found it very useful.
Very nice. So you said you gave actually the product name. You went
basically some of the product names, and I have given specific. You have given said no the prompts. So I have given that, and it has given me a wonderful answer for that, comparing it and also giving me how much excess than the recommended RDA. Yeah.
So that's good. So that you also specified the output, right? The desired output. I want how much of excess from the daily.
So I got almost for all the products, the salt and sodium levels, as well as the sugar and the fat, how much it is more. Almost all the products that are in the market, I think it picks up from the AI available there.
Yeah, so it's again, as I said, trained on images of the labels must also have been fed for where it picks up the.
Yeah, exactly. If I asked in number of spoons, how much more, it also gave me as per the calculation, like this much number of spoons of sugar is more in this product. Yeah.
Yeah, good to hear.
But you would have to validate what comes out from that, because for example, if you say Maggie has so much more salt, okay, you need to actually verify what's on the label, right? I mean, the assumption is it's taken that data from whatever type of Maggie you have specified.
Correct.
So is it also possible at the same time to retrieve that data? You got a table, but you also retrieve the data, actual data from the source to validate what your information is.
So that ties into what I was saying. Currently, the explainability is not there. So data you want to get for validation, that the onus is on you. You need to validate.
Physically retrieve.
Good.
Yeah, okay.
Not from the chat GPT system. You have to take
From
them
outside. Yes.
And definitely, I mean, it's presentable, but if you are going to use it for credible purpose, you have to validate the output that you get from ChatGPT. Textual output is okay, you read through it, but if it is hard facts, you have to cross-check once.
This kind of data sets we have, and that it will be converted into meaningful. Collectively, one of the it may be used by in those kind of scenarios, maybe that's
so again, you need to connect the system to these data sources. So if it is a structured and unstructured data sources, both have to be plugged into the system to be able to derive answer from the combination of that. So that's something that needs to be. Somebody in the AI space who will be, yeah. We can. Correct. No, I'm not saying that obviously domain knowledge will be needed. So what kind of data needs to be plugged and what is the significance of that data? But so they have to work in tandem, the domain expert plus the AI person to put the system together. Correct. Right.
Ma'am, one question. Human analyze any data on a 5 sense organs. Okay, and AI analyze all like 7 to 8 sense, like on a photo, like MIT analyze breast cancers on all data set he put, and now is a 97% prediction is right. So now is a machine learning analyze different type of data set, but they are not collecting and not comes on a one place, like if analyze like photo and some smoke sense, some disease and other because they are different data set, like photo and smoke sense and some different. So has any place to analyze all the data set, all 7 to 8 senses, and put all data set and analyze all prediction, this type of thing?
Sorry.
7 to 8 data set like that. You don't understand.
Okay.
Yeah, it's analytical, like some smoke sensor and some water sensor, moisture sensor, and some and some photogenic sensor, all that analyze the data because
you want to correlate across all of
exactly all data set at a one place and see the result, because now we are using different parts. We are going on a field, then like geo making some devices. They first they use like a disease, then disease only clicking by the photos, and they just collecting data from soil health and moisturing. They have a different data set, and some moisture, they have a different data set. Is all, but we won't have any place. Combined all and know as a human like analyze things.
We are still at step 1, and the analyzing of those data sets in individual silo with ML based tools is possible. With ML can do it. Combining that is still in human control.
So if you take music, right, for example, if you, I don't know if you used a tool called Shazam, it will listen to music, and they use what is called a spectral clustering. It's 2D, right? So anything from computer point of view, it will always be converted into these embeddings, right? So whether you take image is a little bit more complicated, movies are a little bit more complicated. So as a human, you might have 5 perception senses, but for them it will convert into that only, which is what you want it to do, right? So there won't be any bias, and that is actually better. So if you take any disease, for it will be only zeros and ones, which is essentially that's what you want to get into. That's what we want to differentiate. Also, at some point you want to have human in the loop also.
And second question, a big problem is writing any proposal and that things. When we write 20 to 30 pages, okay, then we write like 300 words in a one paragraph. Then again we start writing second. Then that flow of text, it's a different meaning, different soul of that text is different, and some words inside come that is not relevant to that proper text, not proper the paragraphs. So how to resolve that things? These things happened because all are different paragraphs is a different meanings, different text, not proper flow of text, not human tones comings in that things. This problem we facing right now.
So one simple way is you take that text and put into ChatGPT, ask it to rewrite the flow. But
yeah.
then you run the risk of not passing the AI detection tool. So it's a decision you need to make whether you want to keep your human written text with what you think may be not accurate.
Yeah, exactly.
So I don't have...
because some text like in a different way, like if I'm writing for 12 years old text, for 12 years children text, and some text like in a village people, some academia level, and some different then that soul of the text, like context of the text, it's going different and not proper way. So this problem we are facing.
So it is possible that you can ask ChatGPT to organize it better, and it will do for most part a good job of making it flow better. I think we'll stop here for concerns.
If there are no questions, I think we can close the session. So I'm officially propose the vote of thanks. Thank you very much for all of you for joining this AI workshop. This is the first workshop in the foundation. So we look forward to more discussion on this AI topic, which we will be addressing some thematic area specialization also. We'll be doing that. Yeah, thank you very much, ma'am, for giving a basic insight of like how the AI can be, how the ChatGPT, how it can be used for proposal writing and other things. Yeah, I hope my colleagues will come back to you like asking so many questions actually in the future. Thank you, Raghu sir, for joining us. And yeah, I thank Krishnan sir for just giving a brief about the generative AI and other thing. Yeah. And I thank our executive director R&D for organizing this workshop. Thanks all. Look forward to seeing you all in the upcoming sessions. Thank you very much. Thanks, online participants.
Thank you all.
Yeah. Sure. Thank you very much.